Kevin?
Hi Puneet, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. How are you, sir? All well?
All good. You tell me, how are you?
All good, sir. All good.
आपकी आवाज एक मिनट वॉल्यूम पूरी कर दो. Yeah.
Is it fine, sir?
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
So, yeah.
Right, sir.
So we are already, I think, a minute past.
Sure.
People are joining in, so
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Puneet. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
Mukesh. How are you? All good.
Great. Good morning, everyone. People are joining in. So while they're joining in, let me also set the tone right, at least for what we're going to discuss today. First of all, thank you, Puneet, for joining us on a Saturday. For everyone's benefit, today's webinar is a little more special for us for a reason that we've got someone on the other side of the table altogether who's been implementing ESG initiatives within an organization, within a structure. We've been having a lot of experts and specialists coming in earlier who are talking about specific subject matter expertise. But I think today is a special day when we have someone who's been implementing ESG practices in a controlled and a large organization setup. So just to give you a quick introduction with Puneet. Puneet has actually been a professional with more than 15 years of experience, mostly in innovation space and business strategy that he's been working with. One of the few ESG specialists or ESG implementers in the country who are implementing at a large scale, winning many awards. I mean, I always see him winning awards one after the other with the kind of initiatives that he's been taking. Very recent one, as recent as last week, I'd say. And interacting with him has given me a lot of perspective on how it really is different from what we normally study in the frameworks and the structures, the challenges and the kind of people strategy involved, the kind of systems involved, organization strategy, inclination. So we'll get to, I'm really looking forward to learn a lot of things today with this particular webinar that's going underway. So thank you, Puneet, for joining us today. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, being here on this Saturday. Over to Rajiv, sir. Sir, over to you.
Thanks, Mukesh. Thanks, Mukesh, for a lovely introduction.
So just to set the tone right, Puneet, can you just quickly start with what you've been doing for the people to understand, to know what all is happening today in the world of ESG implementation? Then we'll start.
For sure. Thanks, Mukesh. Thanks, Rajiv sir and GK Consulting for involving me and giving me this opportunity to share my experience from where I started from the scratch, without any support, without anything from the outer world. I did it for myself in my organization. So it's been around 15 plus years now in the industry. So currently I'm working with one of the India's leading logistics organization, logistics and supply chain in India, which we operate in domestically in India. So I had ESG and sustainability there, and even the business strategy, business innovation. Work with many domains into education, into media, and specifically on the innovation and strategy part. So how it started was 5 years back, and this organization is already doing it since the day of its inception from 27 years where I'm working right now. So for me, it started just like a option, you can say. Someone just told me that this is a department which we are planning to set up. Will you be interested? So I thought, yes, why not? Let's do something new, along with the innovation and strategy and the trainings, business development and all. So just I gave it thought. I was not aware about what's happening in the outer world related to ESG, sustainability and all. I was totally I was totally new to this, and the day I entered, day on day, my interest level grew up because I'm fond of numbers. I'm fond of the research. I do it myself with different modes, all through the internet and different references and network. Then I came to know, boss, that this is really interesting to do this. I was not having any tool. I was not having any connections, no network, nothing as such, no support in the organization, no support from anywhere. I just did it silently day and night. I researched a lot. Then I decided to go to the management and tell them that, boss, this is the need of an hour. If we are not doing it right now, then the future sustainability of us as an organization, of us as an individual, and even in the outer world, all over the world, it would be totally vanished. And everyone gonna face it big time, which we are facing in terms of climate right now. You can say you can see in US what happened recently, in India, southern region, and in the western region, the rainfalls, continuous rainfalls. Even the drought is happening in India and in Africa. So it's a very serious situation if in terms of the environment, if I talk about. Then in terms of social society, specifically when I go to the conferences, when I meet people, I see very less of women's leadership, very less, and that is has to happen to bring innovation, to bring sustainability and growth in any organization all over the world. And then, yes, the compliance. People are confused. All over the world, people are confused. What to do, what not to do, who can tell us, which framework to follow. In GHG calculations, DEFRA to be followed, IPCC to be followed, Euro follows, correct framework for logistics. So people are totally in a dilemma that where to go and where we are heading towards. I would not even rather say that it's the fault of the businesses who are not able to do, because they also don't know actually what to do, right? So when I go to the forums, people just talk. I see people talk about the implementation and how it's gonna done. Very few people. Either it's ministers, either it's top leaders. So it's very less. So my experience. So without any tool, calculating GHG, just reading DEFRA method, understanding IPCC, then understanding GLEC. I did it on Excel. I developed all the calculations, did it on the Excel. I prepared my own ESG report for the organization, my GHG report for the organization. I implemented human rights policy, grievance policy, whistleblower policies, ethical code of conduct policies, anti-corruption policies in my own organization. And the first question which I was asked was, which even I discussed with Mukesh few time back. Isse kya hoga? What gonna happen with this? What you will achieve out of this? So whenever I go to someone now, because after my initial phase of 6 months, I go with stats. It was, you will live for sure for next 30, 40, 50 years. God give you long life. But what about your upcoming generations? Where they will live? Then how about their upcoming generations? And then I give them the research of certain example here on plastics. It was every day you are using plastic in or in another form. And if this thing happens, all the marine animals will be gone after 5 years. Right? Then what do you want to do? So when I keep up the stats in front of the management and leaders, then that is an eye opener. And that was a catch that from there I took up the pace in my organization in the outer world. Yeah, Rajeev sir. So this was a small piece of experience which I faced, and I am happy that this hands-on experience I got my hand dirty on the field. I go to audits and all. Yeah.
See, actually, this entire experience that you're talking about, is bang on, because past few months, we are doing webinars from the other side of the table. So this is the first one from the industry perspective. You belonging to the service industry, which is heavily into two things. One is the manpower and the other one is the fleet, if I'm correct. Right. And it's a very typical industry where, some part of the manpower would be your own, some part probably would be a third party. Same applies to the fleet. You would be owning some part would be rent out. So mating the two is a huge task, right? So you very well said that, as and as the things are going up, companies are scrambling up, getting people from other departments into their own set of ESG departments, half of them not knowing करना क्या है, but ठीक है जी depute हो गए, right? और एक रिपोर्ट थमा दी गई कि ये BSP आ रहा है, इसको भरना शुरू कर दो, इसमें जो जो सवाल हैं उन डिपार्टमेंट से लेने शुरू कर दो,
right?
So that is how the whole thing has scrambled up. But in fact, that is mind-boggling. So what kind of challenges did you see, and how did you kind of mate out those mitigators? I'll come to the manpower and the fleet part later, but just the internal organizational part. How long did it take? And a very valid point that you raised is, every organization has हम क्यों करें? What is the fun of doing it, right? Because the flat point is that penalty provisions are still not there, right? So as of now, it's a goodwill measure,
right?
अब वो goodwill measure कब तक चलेगा? Probably another 25 would pass by, maybe a 26 will pass by, but after that, then those penalty provisions will start walking in, right? And that is what we are telling companies, that look, boss, start preparing now, because it's a long roadmap. It's not just a 1 month or a 2 month roadmap to, get things done. Yeah.
Right. So I would share my challenge first. So my challenges was, yes, the first is convincing my management and the leadership. Even today, when I speak to, yesterday also, when I got in my organization and we got an award from Times Now for the global sustainability 2 days back. So when I took up to certain leaders, certain colleagues, so what they said was, what is ESG? So I asked them, what is ESG? So they told, plant laga lo, just do a plantation drive and ESG. That's like a boss. This is the issue with everyone. People are not aware. And this is what, sir, what first challenge which I faced was, this was the management, convincing management. So the first question from my management was, Puneet, this is a cost. How we are 4,000 plus crores organization. So this is a cost meet. So how we can get over this? So I give them the solution that on this, that why not go with small pilot projects on certain locations? So I convinced them to implement solar panels on our corporate office in Gurugram. And then for 3 months, I totally monitored the electricity there with my administration team, that what's the impact on electricity. Then we put up the motion sensors lights. We in 6 months of time, we get to know that the bills of electricity from the power grids has gone subsequently down to at least 20 to 30%. And that was the day when management told me, let's go out with full volume to pan India. Let's go for the EV, now plan for the wastage management, then the plastics, then the paper. Then I got many people on board. So first was the challenge to convince my management, because they're also right on their part that Puneet, it's a big investment and this is a big question all over the world.
Correct.
So this was my first challenge.
So how did you? So now how have you done the fleet management part? Because see, third party people will not shift over from their old vehicles to EV without an incentive. So वो probably company को बोलेंगे, सर जी आप पैसे दे दो, हम अपना fleet बदल लेंगे, So those kind of challenges would be there. So have you been able to manage that, or you're still struggling with it, or what?
We have implemented certain policies, sir. So what has happened recently, we have implemented that all the new third parties partners who want their fleet to be imbibed in our organization or included in our organization, they have to replace it after every 4 years. They have to be a BS6 engines. They have to that fuel cleaner facility inside their engines already. So this is a facility which is already available outside. And then we are also now planning to invest in many of the EV organizations. So we are planning to start we are already doing a pilot with two types of trucks, one of 16 feet, one of 22 feet, one in Delhi and one in southern part in Chennai. And then we have seen that it has given us a good result. And now we are planning to tie up, to get an organization on board with us as a partner. And we are planning to invest almost the paperwork is being done, almost is ready. So and it is a 1500 plus EV vehicles, which will run for all Delhi NCR. Because for us, the time matters. For logistics, time matters. Time to delivery matters. So that is the time of pickup is very important in time of delivery. And of course, the middle mile. For middle mile, we are still facing concerns. The reason being the infrastructure is not yet ready for a travel of, we can say 1300 kilometers at a stretch, or 2000 plus kilometer at a stretch, like from Jammu, Kashmir, Kanyakumari. So this is again a challenge. So for 200, 300 kilometers, we are still ready and we are implementing that EVs with us. And this is middle mile. We are facing a concern for this. I would also tell you what I did is, like, I tied up my organization with an NGO from Europe, which is a big policy makers for EV deployment in the countries. They did it in US, Europe, China. Now they are coming up with their footprints in India. So they have implemented certain policy with the help of the government now. So it's PME scheme have been recently launched, which is a 500 crores subsidiary, which anyone can take, any logistics partner can take for buying the EV vehicles. So so we had done a tie-up with that a particular NGO, and that NGO is a funded NGO. So there are investors all over the world who invest in that. So this was my second step towards the fleet, which is very, very important for us.
So basically, what you've done was you played a two-pronged strategy. One was to align the goals of the company to the climate side, and bring your vendors also along with you in terms of their difficulties in raising funds or probably changing the fleet.
Right.
But you raise a very valid point that the mileage for any of these vehicles is probably 300 or maximum 400 kilometers before a recharge. And as your industry, there would be many more who would be utilizing logistics for their own set of operations, right? Apart from, I would typically say, the automobile industry, where the hub is self-sufficient, right, to mitigate speedy transfer of spare parts.
Yes.
So how have you thought of challenging the on-time delivery versus 300 kilometers? What I believe is probably you will be having to set up some middle warehouses to shift it to a new vehicle, probably charge it or increase or something like that. Maybe, I'm just asking a operational part of it.
Right. Very valid questions around this. So what we are now doing, sir, we are coming up with the charging stations in our own newly built hubs. And now we are also putting it to all our logistics park pan India. So we have around 83 plus big logistics park pan India. So we are coming up with the installation of these EV charging stations here. So as soon as we get those 1500, 2000 EV vehicles, so they will get, for the delivery specifically, they will get being charged from those hubs, because the delivery happens for us from those big logi parks, which goes from there to the delivery of the customers. And plus, we are also planning to tie up with certain organizations as a vendor with us, as a partner with us, who can give us the batteries. Which at least 2 batteries should be spare in each vehicle to travel of 200, because there is traffic congestion also, internal parts. So if there is any case happening that battery got over, then that vehicle will have 2 spare batteries with them. And that is so we are getting up some partner with us related to the EV batteries for the vehicles, and then that batteries will be having say period, 1 to 2 years, will be in place by the part. So we are these people along. Even we are getting government on this planning to go in hand with us with the help of that particular NGO also, which we got on board. So Ministry of Transport and Heavy Industries are in touch with us, and they are also collaborating us to support this logistics, which is very, very important nowadays in supply chain.
See, what you are saying is actually good to hear and understand that a company like yours is making that much of detailed efforts, right? Now, of course, if that much of kind of detailing is happening and the company is putting its footprint in the green side, there would be certain element of cost also coming up, right? तो ठीक है, आपने बिजली बचा ली, सोलर पैनल लगा लिए, all those kind of things you have done. But otherwise, just a second.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. So, all the costs and all added, what do you think? Would you be able to pass it on to the customer, or would you be able to absorb it as of now from your present setup? See, you're a large organization, probably you can handle it. But
Right.
your compatriots who are in the middle level, the smaller levels, they too would have to suddenly and surely walk into your path, right?
So yes, sir. Yes.
But होगा क्या, आपके पास तो wherewithal है in terms of manpower, in terms of finance, in terms of probably the cost being still carried forward for some more time, right? Without leaving it on the customer. But what will happen to the other guys? Just a understanding of that part.
Right. So I'll take this question in two parts. So first is that how either we will be putting up that cost to the customers or we are taking it on our own right now. So this is a plan for us that we're gonna take it for 6 months with us on companies' point of view. On our shoulders itself, and then every year we have a policy of enhancing the rates with the customers. So then we will be enhancing up the certain charges. So our organization, what we do is we make up the policy which is a win-win for the customer also and for us also. So both the parties should not be on a loss. So that's what even every price revision when we decide. So we decide in those terms, keeping in mind the country growth, the industry's growth, and this particular sector growth. And then we frame up the pricing and the policies according to that all 3-4 factors. Now coming up to so in the nutshell for us, we'll put it up to the customers after 1 year. And then coming up to the people who are very new or who are startups into this, I would rather say that investing in EV would be a hefty cost for them right now. But yes, they should go out for like what we have gone initial phases with our organization was an asset-light model. So we don't have any vehicles of our own. We have all the partners who are associated with us. Yeah. And then we give them for a certain percentage for the movement of the product. So that what I would suggest that the people who are coming up into this industry or into any industry as a startup, so they should come up with this particular asset-light model for if now, and then they should come up with some tech, which is very, very important, which can save a lot of money. I'll give you an example, sir, here. So there was no tech related to all this in my organization. Yes, the GPS enabled, that all was there. Now, the tech I'm talking specifically is on the ESG. So there was no tech. So what we all did was all manual work was done, all tracking, even getting the information from the partners was really hectic, really hectic.
Correct.
Kilometers, the diesel cost of every state is different. Collaborating with everyone. So we are having more than 4,000 plus fleet partners with us. Meeting them, connecting them was a mammoth task for me. So I was all alone. So when I did it, and so at that point of time, I realized that let's give some incentives also to these people.
Yeah.
So this would be my third advice to the startups. Have some incentive plan for your partners on this, because then only they will be attracted towards working with you and getting things implemented, because everyone thinks first for themselves, that what I will fetch out of this.
Correct.
So this is what 3 things I would suggest to any new startup on this. And there are many new things that I'll discuss with you in the course of the interview, that what new people should do, irrespective of logistics industry. If they are into any industry, which will not even take any amount of cost from them, which will give them money rather. Yeah. Yes.
So there are 2 points that come out of this. One is the incentive to the vendor at large, right? And keeping your specific industry into mind, again, it is boils down to manpower, right? Whether a truck driver or a last mile delivery guy, right? So the social element becomes very important. That is one. And second part is, operations is so vast and so dissipated, as I may say. Then the point of bringing it into a tech backbone makes it more important.
For sure.
Sitting down, gathering data is a humongous task. So probably you will need 10, 15 people in your team to, call up people, get details. वो सही है गलत वो एक, that is a separate point, right? And then assimilating it into a probably Excel format, and then attaching a VLOOKUP and creating a dashboard and whatever it may call it. So how these 2 things, because you see, everything takes time. So what you are telling me, I think you must have spent at least 2.5 years getting it where you are right now.
Right. So definitely, it took more than 2 years.
I'm just giving a hypothetical number to it, because that is what we are talking about, people, where large operations are involved, that it is not just 4 or 5 months of talking and engaging a consultant to provide you with a report and a negative or a positive report or whatever it is. It's a large what do you call that, step and road ahead.
Right.
Power companies are one of them. They are as vast as you guys are, in both the terms. Again, there also logistics also works, because manpower is all outsourced. So these 2 elements become very important.
Right.
So how have you been able to manage those expectations of giving them the literal word of minimum wages, and not putting that cost burden on the company and of course on the customer?
So what happens, sir, I'll again take this question into 2-3 parts. So first was related to the data. It was like getting someone's kidney out of the body from the leaders.
Absolutely.
Right. That why you need, the first question was why you need this data.
Yes.
What will you do with this data? Our data will be sold in the market.
Yes.
So so even I got one of the big 4, I will not name in this platform. I have seen the work of big 4s also here, sir. So they're doing good. No point of question mark on their work. But what they do is the creamy work. And what we need to do even as a startup, any organization, or even we as in logistics, when we were starting this up 4 or 5 years back, we need to do it from the scratch.
Yeah.
Right. And as I said, the question from the leaders was related to data. So when we mailed, I involved the management, the chairman, the MD, the directors into this. It took 6 months for me to get first phase of the data, that is of only scope 1, which is hardly 3 or 4 kind of a data for us.
Yeah.
Right. And that was all inaccurate. It was all hypothetical.
Correct.
And the way of calculation then it has given the result to us was huge. So then it was an eye opener for the management, the leaders, boss. We are emitting so much of emissions in the market.
Yeah.
What we are doing. So someone in the leader said, we are doing plantation drive.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my question to that leader was that, sir, how many plants have you have you planted so far as an organization or as an individual?
Hmm.
So he said that I don't know. I said that is the only problem. So this was the first. So it took me around 2.5 years to get the datas into a particular shape and through the tech. Even today, the tech is under developing stage. It has been ready almost. And then when we got an Big Four onboarded with us, so they also was like that, Puneet, getting the data from you guys is very tedious. It's a 6-month task for us, but it will take at least a year to work with you.
Yeah.
So this was again, you can say apprehension which I faced. But yes, now I can tell you when I give them the facts and the figures, when they know that how much pollution they have done to the environment and what they're causing, even for the society. Now I come to the question of the people who are working with us. So we have even come up with many awards, many recognitions, and even we have linked these ESG stuff as a parameter for them in their appraisal part.
Great.
And that was a day which I did it in the last financial year. People got attracted towards it because then they thought, boss, my appraisal is dependent on this one parameter also, which is ESG. I need to do it. I implemented the process of saving papers, getting the waste management processed done. So I prepared people as a SPOC from different department I involved in, and then we gave them different responsibilities that if someone of this floor or any region reduces the paper utilization and comes up with many digital way of doing the work, then we will be awarding them and he will get certain extra benefits and incentive into his CTC when he is getting appraised. You won't believe, sir, it has reduced the attrition. It has reduced it, even it has increased the buying of the organization. People are now coming up to us to me that, boss, let's get me into your own department. It is good with getting the incentives and all, right? And then retention was there. The enhancement of this department is there, and then company's cost saving is also a lot in this. You won't believe, sir, doing such stuff, even in the waste management category, even in the saving of the plastic, electricity, even water also. This has given a very positive impact on our customers. And trust me, I can't tell you the name of the customers. These many customers are those customers who are global with us, who are big in automobiles, who are big in lifestyle and apparels, operating all over the world, even in India. There are domestic customers also. Their business with us has increased 10 to 15% since year on last 2 financial years, just because of these activities. So I do the EcoVadis assessments, SAQ assessments for them in on behalf of Safe Express, because we fall in the scope 3 category for them.
Yeah.
So there are customers from Europe, UK, then we have from US, Netherlands, even specifically from Amsterdam we have. So their increase in the business has happened, and which has resulted the growth of all the employees operationally who are working in operations and even in the corporate office or in the business team. And we have given the business team a biggest tool. So previously, I'll tell you, 22-23, we were having somewhere around 5,000 customers with us. Now we are touching around 8,260 something customers. And the major reason was when we have given the market, it was this is what we are doing for the society, for DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusions. So my target with the HR now has been changed, even the perspective of management, because in logistics, you won't see women's working, right? Specifically in India, if I talk about,
Yeah.
right? And now the things has changed. So we are 4,200 plus employees pan India. Previously, 2 years back, it was somewhere around 15, 20 employees, female employees working that too in corporate office. Now we have crossed 150 employees. Even my agenda with the HR is to hire more and more female employees with us, and then involving them, and then yes, giving each and everyone the equal opportunity, which is our social factor also. So this is what we thought of doing for our operation staff and people.
Talking to you, I can now gather that when we go out and talk to clients about ESG, we talk about a very, very broad picture. This is how the building will look like. Right? Now, by talking to you and getting your feedback in the industry, you've gone down last mile to the, I would say, the nuts and the bolts. Right? But one curious question: how do you deal with? See, there's another aspect to your business is the packing material, or whether it is done by the customer or whether it is done by you. Broadly, the jute is there, the cardboard box is there, and the bubble wrap or the plastic is there. So, how do you plan to mitigate that? How do you reduce that footprint?
So first, sir, we have the policy in our organization that we don't do any packaging.
Achha.
Right. So we get it done from the customers, so they give it in a proper packaging. Yes, but for certain stuff, certain services, we provide them the carton boxes, specifically in our retail business. But how to mitigate is a very valid point. So I have seen 5 years back in my organization, when we have 10 acres of logi parks, it's very near to Gurugram. And then I went there for an gap assessment initially and audit. So I came to know that there is somewhere around 20,000 square feet of area where is all the waste related to plastics, or waste related to cartons, or being just kept. Or in coming months, Diwali is coming up, or some festival is coming up, it will be burnt. Right. So this was happening. It is still happening all over the world, not in my organization now, but even as an individual, I've seen people in the who are living around. They does same stuff. So on that day, I decided that was I going to do something for that. So one and a half years back, I gave an option to my organization that this much of plastics bottles we are using, this is a cost. So a small Bisleri bottles is of a cost of ₹6 to us, single bottle. And then this much of carton we are producing it, and this carton is all getting burnt, and it is not getting any useful to the organization. Then I suggested them, why not to get them recycled? Why not to replace them? So then I got keep on meeting to many vendors. So at a starting phase, what we did, we just gave it to the market, to different recyclers, and the perfect thing we got was the money at a very initial stage. So everyone was happy that yes, this huge tonnage of the cartons and the plastics are being given to the recyclers, and we are getting in lakhs of rupees. So that is a great initiative, Puneet, you have done for the organization. Everyone was happy. So then I took them slowly after 6 months that, of course, you are happy, sir, but the only point was you are buying notepads, you're buying pens, you're buying A4 size sheets, you're buying the paper, your bags to carry these stuffs. For gifting stuff, you're buying it. You are investing still a lot of money. Why you are doing so? Just I gave them a pilot project in our corporate office itself. I removed all my plastic bottles with the glass bottles. And those glass bottles are 1 year old now. I have bought 200. Each bottle is of 3 or 4 rupees to the organization, as compared to a Bisleri one bottle of 6 rupees. And still we are having that 200 bottles with us. So that cost of Bisleri of 6 rupees was saved, and then the part comes of the recycling. Then I told them that instead of buying such stationary gift items, why not get certain NGOs who are working in India, who creates certain stuff like they have A4 size sheets which is made out of the husk which a horse or a buffalo eats, or a which we call it in these busa.
Okay.
Now we use that. We use the recycled pens. That pens have the seeds at the end, the plant seeds. Once it's not usable, that pen, the refill is gone. It's all totally used. We can use that seeds to get into the plant, and then a new plant can come. Right. And then even people nowadays, when I see even the recent award show, I can see people presenting a small piece of token of appreciation to the speakers of plants. So there are two things. That plants is a cost around 200 to 300 rupees in India. Second, the outer shaping of that plant is not recyclable. It's a totally waste. Once the plant is gone, it is gone. It is gone as a dump.
Yeah.
So I got some ideas meeting certain of my people in the network that why the coconut shell outer part. That is a waste. People either burn it or then they throw it or into the dump areas. Why not to use it? So I come up with an organization in my company, and we have tied up with them. That outer shell and will be given by them. They have prepared an outer shell out of this coconut shell, outering thing, and plus they are giving 2 coins, this much big size. So if you pour water in on them, it will grow up as a soil, as an ingredient of a plant, and then they are giving you certain seeds. Either it's a rose seeds, either it's a tulsi, or any plant seed which you need. You can put it and your plant will come up. And that cost is somewhere around 120, 130 for us. So I saved cost. I gave something to the environment and we recycled also. So these things we have implemented now in my organization. So this has given an effect. So this is a small things. It will not cost much.
See.
Sir, your voice.
Detail.
Yeah, no, not fine.
Are you able to hear me?
Now fine.
Okay. I said you've taken that much of pain to implement it to that finest of detail. I could understand your ethos and your level of understanding. But my last question is that how did you manage to get your guys trained? Was it hands-on, you being the leader or somebody else being groomed as a second in command? Okay, look, boss, you start doing it. I'm there, and I'll help you out, and we'll cross the road, kind of a thing.
So what happened was, since last 5 years in this organization, I have created a very good rapport with all the leaders and the management. Because I was a trainer, I was doing the sales training, guiding people how to fetch more business with them. So I was having a very good rapport everywhere. I utilized that. And with my research and the analysis, that was whatever. So now when I go and give my research to anyone, that boss, if you're sending a mail with your laptop, you are emitting 5 grams of CO2 in the atmosphere. So now they are fed up that boss, every time you speak, you comes up with a stat. Please don't do this. We have to do that. So then I sat with those people. We arranged with all my leaders, with all their team members then subsequently. And then I explained them that if you want to survive, if this organization want to survive next 10, 20, 30 years down the line, we have to do this. And the reason is this whole research. Either it's environments, either it's society, either it's government. If you're not complying up with the laws, and my organization is already compliant from past many years. You can say around 20 plus years, they have all the policies. So before coming up of GST, my organization was totally ready for the GST with the softwares and all. So then I explained them that yes, we have to do this. And that was an eye-opener for everyone. Like what actually they are doing for an environment and what is the need of an art. So and here comes the role of my management and one of my vice presidents. So one of my vice presidents, she's also a female. And this was a very happy moment for me because I got a lot of scolding from everyone, from my seniors on this, right? And then slowly, steadily, when I saw my management supporting me, my vice president got into a support that whatever anyone is speaking to you, how harsh they can be, let them be. We'll give them an ROI in just 6 months of time. Just wait and watch. We will implement, we'll get an ROI, and that what you need to do. Even recently that I got in, I have implemented ISO 9000, 14,000 and 45,000. So there were certain tests of leaders related to their health, like blood test and all, whole
Yeah.
body checkup. They were very afraid that, boss, why are you getting us done through or go through all this stuff and all. So then I explained that, sir, no doubt you might be getting it done from outside, but this is what company cares for you. And I explained them from their own funda, like, sir, this is the obligation of ISO 45,001. If you want business in the market, you want more business, ISO, these 3 certifications want to help you. Then the whole team was there to get an eye test or a whole body checkup test. That was, we fetch more business. So this is a kind of you can say gimmick which I play with them, that this business growth, business grows, we grows. So that is what I am doing, and that is what I do and meet with my research.
Well, this entire conversation was fantastic. You know, I didn't know that that much. See, because I'm always on the other side of the table, you know, just telling companies and clients and people, you know, ये गलत कर दिया, वो गलत कर दिया, इसको ठीक कर लो, इसको ठीक कर लो. अब वो ठीक करने वाला जो प्रोसेस था वो तो कब का भूल गए. You know, तो वो बैठ गए, अब उनको समझाने के इतना ड्रिल डाउन इम्पैक्ट आपको टेक केयर करना है. You know, it was very insightful and very good one. I hope everybody from the industry and the consulting side got a good deal of the hang of what exactly it is to, you know, implement the ESG part rather than just talking and filling up a report. But that was fantastic. I'm moving over to Mukesh for the question and answer. A couple of them coming up.
For sure. Thanks. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
Puneet.
yeah, even Mukesh, I would like to just take 1 minute that on this front, this has prompted me to create future leaders related to ESG. So now I love to guide people and tell them that, boss, get on the field, do such stuff. I guide them. That
True.
Learn with the research.
And in fact, with this session today, I think a lot to learn. Thanks a lot, Puneet. And I think it's turned out to be the way I expected it to be, with right anecdotes and right insights for people to understand. Like Rajiv mentioned, it's always easy to say that we are not doing certain things. You know, it's so easy. I mean, we are so used to what people normally call it couch activism, or probably just simply put in that this particular organization is not conscious about environment and they are doing such stuff. But there are so many inherent challenges for an organization to implement. Like you gave an example, right from even changing a water drinking bottle that has to be changed within a company, the cultural change, right? I mean, it's not that easy that kind of comes about. And there are a lot of questions actually that are also coming in around this. And while we just spoke about building future leaders, so we've been able to get promise from him to be able to create special programs which will eventually going to create leaders also as well. So guys, so Puneet will be guiding us in terms of building the right structures and building those leaders also as well. So thanks for that too, Puneet. Thank you very much. So there are certain questions that people are normally asking. Okay, the first one, I think you'd answered, but we'll still kind of, for the benefit of the question, say that how do you collect the data from the fleet?
So that was a mammoth task. Vardhani sir, that yes, Venkat sir. The question is from Venkat sir itself. So I know when getting in touch with the 4,000 plus partners who are taking care of fleet with my organization, it was hue and cry in my organization. Boss, you are taking time off my fleet. Then there would be a stoppage in the operations and all. But yes, I went all alone to different regions. I met them differently in the local vicinity, and then to certain people, through our leaders, through their areas heads and their BDM teams. And then that was the incentive part. I told them, everyone, that boss, you gonna fetch this, and future, if you want to have fleet in any organization, either with me or with any, you have to mobilize yourself from this traditional fossil fuel to different stuff.
Right.
So then people even changed into, so they then, it took time. It took time of 6 months to 1 year. But yes, now I can say after this 2 years of time, I'm getting the accurate data. So I use tech here with them. So tech in the sense is whenever they are doing any kind of pickup or a booking, so whatever entries they are doing in the app, that app will automatically calculate the data of the kilometers and everything. So my work was done. I only need that kilometers, even the electricity stuff. So we have certain apps given to them. So 2-3 apps they are using. Now we are planning to make a whole one app out of those 2-3 apps, so that can be more feasible for. So tech help us basically, and then connecting them with you.
So now that brings me to the second question that's being asked is, how does technology work in rolling out ESG initiatives? I mean, at large. I mean, we gave one such example right now. Is there anything specific that you'd like to say from an organization-wide perspective?
I would. It will go around for any organization here, not only my industry specific of logistics and supply chain. Initially, even your IT team will be a kind of hindrance. Let boss, why to do it? We are already fed up with a lot of work. Let's take it slowly and all. So this was an answers which I got to hear.
Right.
And then even I told them that was everyone is doing all out of the world. And
Right.
then I involved my management in that. That if we get, I got in touch with many people, IT tech organization, big organization from Europe, from Dubai, even from one of us from UK. And then I showed them the cost.
All right.
And that was the point my management got involved. That was Puneet is trying to save that much of money. And if you implement in 6 months of time, you got the promotions. You got the money with you. And that fascinated them and they involved. So tech will play, and that is the future in ESG. With tech only, you will streamline that stuff, you'll streamline the data, and you will get the accuracy. It will be the only way.
Perfect. And so, I mean, I'm moving to the next one. What are the initial big wins that one can have while starting ESG initiatives, so that it keeps the interest of the management going? So I'm sure you've implemented it, so there could be some trick to it that people might want to get to know and they'll get to know.
So first part was, to be very honest here, first part was I made them fit into a scary phase for their life and for their families. That was the way we are doing, or as an individual you are doing it. You will lose business, you will lose people, you will lose every of your loved one if you're not doing this. So this was with all the stats, with all the research work. Then that was some out of 10 people, 2 were attracted, right? So that was my win, that at least 2 people have into this, I have into my buying. And then was I told them, you produce a lot of e-waste, you produce a lot of e-waste. Every month we are still producing 2 tons or 3 tons of e-waste, plus plastics, plus the cartons. So everything was a waste for us. And I told them, why not to get a recycler on board and get some money out of that. So they were happy on that yes, at least we are getting something out of those waste rather than just putting in the dump yard. So this was some certain wins. And for the employee perspective, this was for the management perspective or the leaders perspective. For employee perspective, I gave them certain policies, awareness drives for human rights, whistleblower, anti-corruption, grievance policies. And so I developed for them, and then I made them involved into all this ESG. So this was all internal. So there was no cost involved anywhere. So when I involved everyone in this with the incentives and with linked with their appraisals, this was my more of the wins which I got.
Oh, great. So making it a part of the KPI for people, I think it's an
yes, definitely. So we need to set up the KPIs. I'll give an example, just a one-liner, that you can keep a KPI. For example, I kept for my organization is 30% reduction in the carbon emission by 2030. Right. So such kind of KPIs can be kept.
Interesting. Now that we're talking about, okay, so a very specific question: is there a scope for packaging material requirements for ESG domain? What kind of scope do you have?
definitely, there is a lot of scope. We are now getting the recycled packaging materials also. And there are companies, there are local artisans in the villages, in the rural areas who are working with them. So yesterday I met someone into some who is in the outskirts of Delhi and Haryana borders, certain villages here. So that guy makes a very good bag, and
Okay.
he's a polio has a concern of polio with him.
Okay.
So he's producing that bag, and you won't believe that is a laptop bag just for 15 rupees.
Oh,
Just for 15. So he's making everything which is available to him for free of course in his home, and he has created that wonderful bag. So I have one with me. Not right now, it's kept under the Almira.
so we
So
should promote him. Yes, definitely. I mean, I'd like to.
definitely.
We
So such
organizing an
good
event.
packaging. Yeah.
He'll definitely would love to promote him. We are hosting a big event in February, so
Great.
I think we should be able to promote him.
I'll get these people to be associated with you. So there's a lot of scope in the recycled packaging material requirement in ESG.
Wonderful. I think it's more of an observation from Maya, I guess. Talking a lot about not using plastic bottles and use of steel bottles or using your own bottles, which is a practice that you also kind of encourage. Thanks, Maya, for that particular input. Another one, Habib is asking from theory to, it's a large one, so probably we'll sum up with that question. So from theory to practice, what has challenged you the most?
So theory was like fancy world, which was shown online with all the research from BCG, research from UN, research from many more organizations. It was all fancy world, talking about the creamy work. And then, so when I put it up all together, the things on the ground, I was totally baffled. I was totally baffled what to do now. So I was not aware what is a gap assessment. I was not aware how to do the calculations. If I'm reading this TIFRA method or IPCC method, where to put such stuff, because it is not given in any research, right? And nowadays, ChatGPT is also very prominent. So it was totally different ball game altogether from the theoretical stuff, and the learnings will only come when you test it all your own. Not not with the support of anyone. You need to do it alone, and then you will know that theory will work on you.
True, I totally agree. So I have been telling people all along there is no better teacher than practice. So
Yep.
I think so that's kind of comes. So that kind of brings to closer to today's session. But
So
I think
I'll take few 5 to 6 seconds because one stuff on training. For one question, one should undergo for becoming an ESG pro.
that's important.
To share a lot of training material going on the. There are companies don't go for hefty amount right now. Go with initial base with good organization. There are organization. One is front of you, GK Consulting is there. They can also help you in this, and there are many more options for this. And that is what the need of that we need ESG get out in the world. Create this was. So this was my take on this question.
Sure, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. I thought I missed out on that question. I'm so sorry. So, but again, as you said, today's session was amazing, but I think it was not enough. We probably will have another round of session with you again in the near future. And while using this platform, you being there today, we will be launching training programs, especially on that particular note, like Puneet just mentioned. We'll be launching and sharing the training calendar and training program soon with you guys. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much, Puneet, for taking out time today and sharing wonderful insights with us today. Thank you very much.
So thank you for joining in and listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.